In this video, I'll show how to add virtual hosts to Apache. I have Apache on a virtual machine on the local network, not exposed to the internet. This is good practice while testing. Then once working okay, do the same on a live server. And even for live servers, virtual machines have benefits. I run all my web servers on virtual machines. To learn more, watch my tutorial series about making a LAMP server in VirtualBox. Links are in the description. Part 2 of the series is how to install Webmin, which I'll be using during this tutorial. To follow along, you'll need Webmin too, so if you don't have it already, watch that video. The instructions apply whether using a virtual machine, actual hardware, or a cloud service. Now let's make a virtual host in Apache. To begin, open a browser of your choice. However, I discourage using Firefox. Not because I don't like it. I do, and I use it daily, but some of what I'll show doesn't work in Firefox. So use something else, at least for this tutorial, like Chrome or Edge, which is what I'll be using. With the browser open, log in to Webmin. The IP of my demo server is 192.168.3.30, and the default port 10,000. Log in as root. Under the Server section, click Apache Web Server. Here we can see the default host with document root var www html. Open a new browser tab and confirm the default site is working okay. In the address bar, enter the IP of the server, but without any port, which returns the default web page. And there it is. All right, the web server is working, but only because we know the IP address. We want to host multiple sites on the same server, but it has only one IP address. To do this, we use specific host names, not IP numbers. So on a local network, we need a way to use names, not numbers, just like actual sites on the internet. Here's how to do it. First, on Windows. In the search bar, enter Notepad. Don't click or press Enter to open the app. The file to edit is in the system, which requires administrator permissions. So right-click and select Run as Administrator. Go to the File menu, Open. Open the C drive. Windows. System32. Drivers. etc. Note here the full path. The folder appears empty, but it's not. It's because Notepad only sees the TXT extension by default. Change the file type to All Files. Now we can see the contents. The file we want is Hosts. Select it and click Open. This file is the first place searched for host names before asking a DNS server over the internet. Well, except Firefox, which you shouldn't be using for this tutorial. I'll explain another time. Here you can override any host name and send it to another IP address. At the end of the file, enter the IP of the web server on the local network. For me, 192.168.3.30. Then a tab. After that, enter the domain name to send to this IP. Example.com. Make another line and also add the same with www. That way, with or without it, the name resolves to the same IP address. More about that later in the video. Save the file. macOS is similar, just a different location for the hosts file. Open the Go menu. Select Utilities. Find Terminal and double-click to open it. On the command line, enter sudo space pico space /etc/hosts. The Pico text editor opens the hosts file. Add the same lines we did in Notepad on Windows. Control-O to save the file. Then Control-X to exit, and close Terminal. I'll go back to Windows for the rest. In your web browser, open a new tab. In the address bar, enter example.com. When the browser looks for the IP address, the hosts file responds with the local IP we added, and we're directed to the demo web server. But the server returns the default web page, because that's all Apache knows to do. For virtual hosts, we have to tell Apache how to handle each. First, there needs to be a directory for the HTML. In Webmin, open the Tools section. File Manager. Open the var directory. Then the www directory. Click the File drop-down and select Create New Directory. Name it example.com. I'll go into the new directory and upload HTML for a mock website. Click the File drop-down and select Upload to Current Directory. I have a zip file of mock HTML in my Downloads folder. Once uploaded, select the zip and right-click. Extract. Then delete the zip file. That's step 1. Now we have to configure Apache to use the HTML. In Webmin File Manager, go to etc Apache 2 Sites Available. Select the file 000-default.conf. In the Edit drop-down, select Copy, then Paste to make a copy of the file. Rename the copied file to example.com.conf. Right-click the copied file and select Edit. The file begins with virtual host and the address and port separated by a colon. The address is usually an asterisk, meaning any address, and the port is 80, standard for HTTP. Next is a block of comments. Lines that start with a hash symbol are comments. At the end of the block is a line server name. Remove the hash symbol to uncomment the line. Confirm the server name is www.example.com. If not, make it so. Next, find the line document root. In the file path, change HTML to example.com. And the line below that, do the same. Click the disk icon to save the file. Then close it. Now we have to enable the new configuration. In the Tools section, select Command Shell. Enter A2nsite space example.com. The meaning of the command is Apache 2 enable site, followed by the configuration to enable. Click the button Execute Command. The same command also works in an ordinary console if you prefer. This option in Webmin is just for convenience. In any case, the site is enabled and a message to reload Apache. Don't worry about that. We'll restart Apache from Webmin. Click the section Servers. Select Apache Web Server. On the right is an icon that looks like a recycle logo. Or it might have the text Apply Changes. Click it to restart Apache. Once restarted, try it out. Go to the Browser tab for example.com. Refresh. It's still the default web page. It's because the server name is www.example.com. Add www before the domain name, then press Enter. Now we get the demo HTML. Remove www and it's back to the default page. We want visitors to get the same site either way. Here's how to do it. In Webmin, go back to Apache Web Server. Now that the site is set up in Apache, you can edit the config file here. It still works to edit the file in the Sites Available directory, as we did to start. This feature in Webmin is just for convenience. Find the virtual host for example.com and click the globe icon. Select Edit Directives. A text editor opens the config file, the same as opening it from File Manager or from a console. After the line for server name, add another line. Server alias space example.com without www. That makes with or without it resolve to this configuration. Click the button Save and Close and apply changes to restart Apache. Go back to the tab for example.com. Refresh. You may need to refresh twice to force it. And there it is. Now it works with www and without. But it's a good idea to add www when the visitor doesn't. Here's how to do it. First, make sure the Apache module rewrite is enabled. In Webmin, go to Apache Web Server. Click the tab Global Configuration. Select Configure Apache Modules. Look for Rewrite. If it's checked, you're good to go. If not, check it, and down below, click the button Enable Selected Modules and restart Apache. Go to the tab Existing Virtual Hosts. Find the server example.com and click on the globe icon. Like before, select Edit Directives and the config file opens. Go to the end of the file. Add a new line. Rewrite engine space on. The next two lines are a pair that work together. First is the rewrite condition, and second is the rule to apply when the condition is met. Enter rewrite COND space % left brace capital HTTP _ host right brace space exclamation mark caret www / period space left bracket uppercase NC and a right bracket. Let's dissect this rewrite condition. First is the command followed by a variable, which begins with % and is wrapped in braces. The variable is HTTP host, which is the host name entered by the visitor. Example.com, for instance. Next is a regular expression. The exclamation is the not operator, and the caret means beginning of line. Period is a regex operator, so it must be escaped with a / for a literal period character. The expression becomes not begins with www and a period. In other words, the visitor did not prepend the domain name with www. And finally, the NC wrapped in brackets is a flag that means no case, so www matches whether upper or lower case. The next line is the rule applied if this condition is true. Enter rewrite rule space caret space http / www period % left brace all uppercase http _ host right brace % left brace all uppercase request _ URI right brace space left bracket uppercase R equals 301 comma uppercase L and finally a right bracket. After the command is another regular expression. The pattern to match is the caret symbol. This matches the entire request. Then the replacement is the protocol HTTP and the variable for host and request, but with www before them. So any URL without www gets it added. Last is the flags, which are wrapped in brackets. R means redirect, followed by the HTTP status code 301. This tells the browser that the requested resource has moved permanently. So the browser knows to always ask for the URL with www in the future. L is for last, meaning to stop processing further rewrite conditions or rules. There are no more, but it's a good habit to include the flag anyway, in case any are added later. Click the button Save and Close, and apply the changes to restart Apache. Now go back to the tab for example.com. Refresh. Now the site always has www, whether the visitor adds it or not. I'll repeat the steps to add another virtual host, but not drag you through all of it. I'll be right back. I've added the virtual host mydomain.com. The configuration is the same, other than changing the domain name. I'll open another browser tab and go to the new site. And there it is, the mock HTML I uploaded. Example.com still works, and the default site when a name isn't used, only the server IP. You can add as many virtual hosts as a server can handle. That all depends on its available resources, but I imagine even a wimpy server could handle very many. Once you're done, you'll want to go back to the hosts file and remove the entries we added. Save it and close Notepad. Like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe so you're notified of future videos. Also, leave a comment. I always like to hear from you. All feedback is welcome. There are plenty of other tutorials. Click the video or playlist on screen for more. Thank you for watching.